I have to admit something. I absolutely dread networking.
Oh, yeah. The worst.
You know the kind of event I'm talking about, right? You walk into this room, everyone's got a name tag, and there's this like frantic energy.
Hmm.
It feels like everyone is looking at you, but not at you. They're looking at you like you're a ladder.
What can you do for me?
Exactly. They're scanning your badge, trying to figure it out. Can this person get me a deal, a job? And the second they decide you can't, their eyes just glaze over. They're looking right past your shoulder for the next target.
It's so dehumanizing.
It really is. It makes you feel small. But then, every once in a while, you meet someone totally different.
Right.
They aren't selling anything. They're not scanning the room. They're just present. And when you walk away, even if you only talked about the weather, you feel better.
Yeah.
You feel energized. It's magnetic.
That distinction you're making between the person who sort of drains the energy from the room and the one who charges it up,
Yeah.
that is exactly what we're dissecting today.
It feels like magic, though. Like some people just have it.
It feels like magic, but it's actually mechanics. We're getting into Chapter 14 of Wallace D. Wattles' The Science of Getting Rich.
Okay.
The chapter is called The Impression of Increase. And before we get into the nuts and bolts,
If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
perfect. So, the impression of increase.
It sounds a bit formal, doesn't it? A little stiff, like something from 100 years ago.
Well, it is from 100 years ago, but if you strip away that antique phrasing, you're left with a concept that's frankly backed up by modern psychology and even biology.
Okay, so what is it in plain English?
It means leaving every single person you interact with feeling a little bit expanded or more valuable or just more capable because they interacted with you. It's the subtle signal that you are an advancing man or woman.
Okay, I have to push back on that right away, because when I hear increase, more, it just sounds like the problem with the world today.
Greed.
Yeah, greed, endless consumption, burnout. Is Wattles just putting a fancy label on being greedy?
That is the #1 misunderstanding of this entire book.
Yeah.
And he's actually very clear about it. He talks about the difference between the competitive plane and the creative plane.
Right.
The competitive plane is that networking event you described. It's the idea that for me to get more, I have to take it from you. Your attention, your money, whatever. It's a zero-sum game.
A scarcity mindset. If I win, you have to lose.
Exactly. But the creative plane, he argues, is biological. It's just the law of nature. Think about a single seed you plant in the ground.
Okay.
It doesn't just grow into one plant that produces one seed to replace itself. It produces hundreds, maybe thousands of seeds. Life, just by the act of living, multiplies itself.
So the desire for increase is inherent in all nature, as he puts it.
It's the urge for more life.
Yeah.
It's not about hoarding. It's about expression. A tree doesn't hoard sunlight. It uses it to grow. And in growing, it creates shade, produces oxygen, drops leaves that enrich the soil.
It creates an entire ecosystem just by being itself.
Its increase benefits everything around it. And Wattles says we have that same impulse to know more, to do more, to be more.
So stagnation, then, is the real enemy.
Stagnation is basically, it's contrary to nature. In the
Yeah.
natural world, anything that stops growing starts decaying. There's no neutral.
That makes sense. It explains why retirement can be so dangerous for some people. They work their whole lives, they stop, and then their health just collapses. The push is gone.
Precisely. We need a horizon to move toward. And this connects perfectly with what psychologists today call self-determination theory.
SDT.
Yeah, SDT. It suggests our well-being depends on 3 things: autonomy, relatedness, and a big one for this conversation, competence.
Competence. The need to feel like we're good at things.
We have an innate biological need to feel like we're effectively interacting with our environment. When you master a skill, solve a hard problem, even just organize a messy room,
You get that little hit of satisfaction.
that's dopamine. That's your brain's reward system saying, yes, that was increased, do that again.
Okay, so we all want to feel like we're growing. I'm on board with that. But Wattles is talking about the impression of increase. That's about projecting something outward to other people.
He is, and this is where it gets really fascinating. Because we're social creatures, right? We're constantly scanning each other for cues.
Safety, threat, opportunity.
All of it. And if I see you and you look defeated, your shoulders are slumped, you're cynical. My primitive brain, my lizard brain, just says, stay away.
Like a sinking ship.
That person is going down and they might pull me down with them. But if you project this sense of increase, this quiet confidence that you're an advancing person,
Then my lizard brain says, stick with them.
they know where the resources are, they know where the safety is, they're on the upswing. We're instinctively drawn to that.
So this impression of increase is really just signaling to the tribe that you're a good bet.
That's the evolutionary psychology way of looking at it, yes. Wattles adds a spiritual layer. He says the universe itself, what he calls the formless substance, wants to express more life through us.
So it will naturally guide resources and people toward those who are the best channels for that expansion.
You basically become a conduit for life, and so life flows to you.
It sounds great, but I can hear the skeptic listening right now. They're thinking, okay, so I just need to fake it till I make it, walk around with a big phony smile and act like a winner.
Right.
Because we all know that person too. The one who's loud, bragging about their investments, acting like they own the room. They're technically projecting increase, but I want to run a mile from them.
You want to run away because your intuition is screaming that they're lying. That isn't the impression of increase.
What is it then?
That is the impression of insecurity.
Ooh, okay. That's a huge distinction.
It's everything. Wattles is so specific about this. He says, true faith is never boastful. Think about it. Does a genuinely, profoundly wealthy person walk into a party and announce their net worth?
No, of course not. They don't have to. Their confidence is quiet.
Exactly. They have quiet assurance. Boasting is a signal that you're trying to convince yourself just as much as you're trying to convince others. It's loud because it's hollow.
So the real impression of increase is subtle.
It's in your tone of voice, the steadiness in your eyes, the way you carry yourself. It's a vibration that says, I am on my path. I am moving forward. And if you engage with me, you'll move forward too.
Oh, so it's not, look at how great I am. It's more like, come with me, we're going somewhere great.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's invitational. And you can't really fake that long term. You have to actually believe it first.
Which brings us to the how. If we can't fake it, we have to build it. And Wattles gives us a really concrete rule for this. He talks about use value versus cash value.
This is the anchor for the entire chapter. If you only remember one thing, remember this. This is what makes getting rich an ethical act.
So break it down.
The rule is, you must always give every person more in use value than you take from them in cash value.
Let's use a modern example. Imagine I sell, I don't know, productivity software.
Okay, good one. So you find a small local artist, a painter. They're brilliant, but they're not very organized. They keep their client list in a messy notebook.
Right.
You could convince them they need your $500 a month enterprise-level software suite. You could use all the sales tricks, hit them with jargon, and get them to sign.
I get my commission. That's the cash value. I took $500.
You took the cash value, but what's the use value for that artist? The software is way too complex. It's going to frustrate them, take them away from painting, and just be a huge expense. The use value is basically zero, or even negative.
So even though it was a legal transaction, I fundamentally cheated them in the equation of life.
You're on the competitive plane. You gained, they lost.
Yeah.
And that energy, that reputation, it catches up to you. But more importantly, in Wattles' view, you've acted like a parasite, not a creator.
Okay, so let's flip it. What does the advancing person do?
The advancing person sees that artist and says, look, my software is overkill for you. But you know what? There's this simple $20 app that would be perfect for organizing your contacts. Here, let me show you how it works.
They make no money on that deal.
They make no cash,
Hmm.
but they've just delivered immense use value. They solved a problem. They made the artist's life better. They left them with a feeling of increase. Now, that artist is going to tell every other artist they know about the helpful software person.
And when you do sell your expensive software, it's to a company that can actually use it. They pay $500, but it saves them $5,000 in wasted time.
Now everyone wins. They got 10 times the value they paid for it. That's the formula.
Yeah.
If you always make sure the other person feels they got the better end of the deal in terms of real-life utility, you never have to sell again. You just become a resource.
I love that because it just takes all the sleaziness out of business. It reframes it as service.
It is service.
But how does this apply outside of business? You know, for someone working a regular job or dealing with family or just going through their day, how do you give use value when you're just, I don't know, answering emails?
Okay, let's take that exact example, the workplace. Let's call it the relay race mindset.
Okay.
In a relay race, what's the most critical moment?
The handoff.
The handoff. You don't just finish your leg and toss the baton in the general direction of the next runner. You place it perfectly in their hand so they don't lose a single step.
So the baton is the work,
Yeah.
the report, the file, whatever.
Right. Now, the person who's stagnating, they do the bare minimum. They finish their task. The file is a mess. The data isn't summarized. And they just fire off an email that says, done.
And the next person opens it and groans. Now they have to spend half an hour just figuring out what they're even looking at.
You have decreased their life. You've added friction. You've made them feel tired and annoyed.
And we all know that person at work.
No. An email from Dave. This is going
Okay.
to be a headache. Dave is not conveying the impression of increase. Now, the advancing person thinks differently. They think, who gets this next? How can I set them up for a win?
Okay.
So they format the spreadsheet clearly. They add a 2-sentence summary at the top. They highlight the key numbers. They anticipate the question their boss will ask and put the answer right there.
So when the boss opens it, it's a feeling of relief. It's easy. They feel competent.
And they associate that feeling of ease and competence with you. That is the impression of increase. You are the person who makes their job easier. That's how you get promoted. Not by asking for it, but by making yourself indispensable.
That's so practical. It's not about big, grand gestures. It's about operational empathy.
That's a great term for it. And it works just as powerfully in our personal relationship.
Let's go there, because this is where you can really feel the difference between people who give energy and people who take it.
Let's call it the mirror effect. In a typical conversation, what are most of us doing while the other person is talking?
We're waiting for our turn to speak, thinking about the story we're going to tell next.
We're checking our phone. When you do that, you are sending a clear signal. What you are saying is not as important as what I'm about to say. You are decreasing them.
I think we're all guilty of that, especially with the people closest to us. It's so easy to just tune out.
It's the default mode. It takes conscious effort to shift. To convey increase, you have to become a mirror that reflects the best version of them back to them. Psychologists have a term for this: active constructive responding.
What does that look like in practice?
So your partner comes home and says, ugh, I finally got that big project done. The typical passive response is, oh, that's nice, dear. What's for dinner?
You just killed the entire vibe.
Completely. The active constructive response is to stop what you're doing, turn to them, make eye contact, and say, that's fantastic. You've been working so hard on that. You must be so relieved. Tell me about it. What was the best part?
You're amplifying their win.
Yeah.
You're celebrating with them.
You are making them feel seen and valued. They walk away from that 2-minute conversation feeling bigger, not smaller. And you're the one who made them feel that way. You become a source of increase in their life.
And Wattles says this applies to every interaction, even buying a cup of coffee.
Put the thought of increase into the smallest transaction. That's his line. When you're at the checkout, look the cashier in the eye. Smile. Say thank you and mean it. For 5 seconds, treat them like a valuable human being, not an obstacle between you and your groceries.
You've given them a tiny deposit of respect, of increase.
And it costs you nothing. But it changes your own state, too. When you act like someone who has an abundance of goodwill to share, you start to feel abundant. It becomes a self-reinforcing loop.
Okay, I want to talk about one more group, content creators. A lot of people listening are trying to build something online, a YouTube channel, a newsletter, and the internet feels like the ultimate competitive plane.
Oh, it is. It's a war for attention.
Yeah.
And the algorithm often rewards the most competitive behavior.
Clickbait.
Outrage, fear, anxiety. You'll never believe what happened next.
Right. And you click and you watch and you just leave feeling kind of gross or angry.
The creator got the cash value, the ad view, but they gave you negative use value. They made your emotional state worse. That's a short-term game. You might get the click, but you won't earn the trust.
So what does the advancing creator do?
The advancing creator is obsessed with the viewer's win. They ask themselves one question for every piece of content. Will the person on the other end of this screen be better off after watching this?
Did they learn a practical skill? Did they feel understood? Did they get a moment of joy?
Are they leaving with a feeling of capability? If the answer is yes, you're conveying increase. You're serving the audience, not just feeding the algorithm.
But the paradox is, if you do that consistently, the algorithm eventually has to notice.
Because people return to places where they are nourished. If your channel is a place where people feel smarter or more hopeful, they come back. They subscribe. They share. They become your advocates, not because you used a trick, but because you genuinely helped them.
It's like Wattles' lighthouse analogy. You just focus on being a bright light, a creative center, and the ships will be drawn to you.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
become a magnet. People are drawn to those who help them survive and thrive. It's just human nature.
Okay, but this can go wrong. I can see a few traps here. If I try too hard to be a source of increase, I might just become a people pleaser, a doormat.
That's a big one. And it leads to the first common mistake, which we can call the power trip.
What do you mean?
It's easy to confuse increase with dominion, to think, I am the one who brings advancement, so you should all listen to me and do as I say.
So it becomes about control, power over others.
Yes. And Waddle says that is the historic curse of humanity. The advancing person seeks power for themselves and with others, but never over others. It's about collaboration, not domination. Ruling over people is a sign of deep insecurity.
Got it. What's the next mistake?
The hurry virus. This is my personal demon.
I think it's everyone's. This pressure to do everything right now.
Waddles is brutal on this. He says, the moment you begin to hurry, you cease to be a creator and become a competitor. Hurry is just fear in disguise.
Fear that there isn't enough time or enough opportunity.
So I have to scramble and rush to get my piece of the pie? It signals scarcity. It's frantic. And that frantic energy repels people. Quiet assurance is never rushed.
So the fix is to slow down, to focus on doing today's work perfectly.
Do the task in front of you with your full attention and in a successful manner. That builds the momentum. Rushing just creates errors and anxiety.
Okay, mistake number 3.
Neglecting the small interactions. Being super charming and on for the big client meeting, but then being dismissive or rude to the person at the front desk.
It's a tell. It shows the charm is an act, not a state of being.
Exactly. People are pattern matching machines. If they see that inconsistency, they don't trust you. You have to be the advancing person in all transactions, or the impression falls apart.
And we've already covered mistake number 4, which is boasting.
Right. If you have it, you don't have to talk about it. Let your work and your presence do the talking.
And the final one, mistake number 5.
Ignoring the value exchange. Just trying to get something for nothing.
Entitlement.
The world owes me mindset. No. The world responds to value given.
Yeah.
You must always be looking for ways to give more use value. The second you start thinking, how can I get paid more for doing less? You're on the wrong path.
Okay, this is all fantastic in theory. I want to make sure everyone listening has a practical way to start doing this, like today.
Let's do it. We put together a little guided exercise. We're calling it Increase in Every Interaction.
And this is something you can do right now, just in your mind, to prepare for your next conversation.
It just takes a minute. Okay, so step first. Choose one person you know you will interact with later today.
Could be a colleague, your kid, the person at the coffee shop, anyone.
There's someone in mind. Okay. Step next. Decide what increase might mean specifically for them. This requires empathy. Do they seem stressed? Maybe increase for them is a feeling of calm. Are they working on a tough problem? Maybe it's a feeling of being supported.
So it's not about you, it's about them. What do they need?
Step next. Choose one small concrete act of increase. You're not trying to change their life. Just make a positive deposit. It could be as simple as making them a cup of tea or sending an email saying, great job on that presentation.
A small, tangible thing.
Now, step next. Choose one phrase that communicates respect and progress. Words have power.
Something like, I appreciate your help with this, or you always have great ideas on this topic.
Exactly. And then step next, and this is maybe the most important. Identify and remove one behavior that drains value.
The hard part.
Do you interrupt them? Do you complain? Do you check your phone while they're talking? Just pick one of those drains and consciously decide, for this one interaction, I will not do that.
And the final step.
You close the visualization with a feeling of quiet confidence. You resolve to do your small act, say your kind phrase, and then let it go. Don't look for a reward. Don't boast about your kindness. Just know that you acted as a creative center.
If you did that just a few times a day, it feels like it would fundamentally change your relationships and your opportunities.
It's inevitable. You become a person that others want to be around, want to support, and want to help. It's a law of nature.
Let's bring it all home. We've covered a lot, from biology to business ethics. Let's do a quick recap of the core takeaways.
Let's do it. So first, the desire for increase isn't greed. It's the fundamental impulse of the universe and all life.
And we have to convey that impression of advancement in every single transaction we have, no matter how small it seems.
Next, remember that true faith shows up as quiet assurance. It's never boastful or loud.
And we must always, always provide more in-use value, in real-life help, than we take in cash value.
People are just naturally attracted to those who make them feel more alive and more capable. It's a human instinct.
And we have to avoid that trap of seeking power over other people. The goal is to grow with them.
And finally, success is built by holding that faith of the advancing person on the inside while simply doing today's work perfectly on the outside. No hurry, no fear.
It's a complete shift, isn't it? From seeing the world as a battlefield you have to conquer to seeing it as a garden you get to cultivate.
And the gardener doesn't stress about whether the seeds will grow. They just tend the soil, provide the water, and trust the process of life.
A perfect place to leave it for today. But we are not done. This philosophy is powerful, but people will want to know how it works in a specific job. How do you apply this if you're a teacher, an accountant, a mechanic?
And that is exactly what our next session is about. Episode 9 is called The Advancing Man, and we're getting into the nitty-gritty of how this applies to professions and getting promoted. It's where the rubber really meets the road.
You will not want to miss it. Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.